Orero. You know, Mwalimu Orero, the MP for Kibra, voted for the bill. You know why? You see, the first project to be initiated, actually where the president went and placed the first stone was where? Was it in Lang'at and Kibra? So Mwalimu Orero will think, why should I oppose the bill when my constituency is the first, is the pioneer where this project is coming up? That's why I think he boldly said, I'm voting yes. Same to Jalango. Actually, Jalango has been on record saying that I want to support the president because of this housing thing. My people don't have a house. Okay, a section of my constituents, they have a poor housing. They have poor housing structure. So the government has a good idea of uplifting the settlement of my people.
Pretty much. But let's look at it. So Nabiswa Brian, in this sense, yeah. The ideal situation in voting around this particular bill would be that every other member of parliament, through their own discretion, will look at this particular bill, look at exactly what it's going to do to their constituents, and then vote for or against it. I mean, when you look at the conversations around this particular bill, you can't say that every other thing in the bill is essentially punitive or bad. No. Today, essentially, what they're going to do is vote clause upon clause, clause upon clause. But then, over this other side, they're saying that should that arise, because we do know who the majority is in this Kenya Kwanza government, it's a UDA. So when we are going to vote, and there's nothing like, well, the number of people voted for, it is essentially the speaker to see exactly where the house is voting to what, in terms of the voices that are essentially shouting around these clauses, that would essentially say yes or no to these particular clauses. Now, from where you're sitting, there's a member of parliament today from the Kenya Kwanza side who's going to look at number one, the 16% VAT on petroleum products. Do you think that is going to put them on the spotlight? Because now they're going to vote on clause after clause, Nabiswa. Do you think now the voting might change a little bit, going by the fact that today it's not essentially whether indeed it should go to the third reading. Today it's on clause after clause. Today is when we're going to see those members of parliament who are going to say, well, I support the 16% VAT on petroleum products. Do you think it might change?
I doubt. I really doubt. You know,
yes,
we've been in this country.
Yeah.
Such kind of highly debated bills have been there. We saw the security bill in the last parliament. Now, this finance bill, it has come from Kenya Kwanza, from the government.
Yes.
And you remember there was a PG, the Kenya Kwanza PG, whereby we are being told that the president took them clause by clause, and he told them why they want this bill to go through. Even during the first reading, when the report was being presented, none of the Kenya Kwanza member of parliament actually even saying that we need to amend this one. None of them actually mentioned something of the sort. Kenya Kwanza has already come with a fixed decision. Actually, whatever is playing around this bill, I might say,
yes,
it is a political affair. You remember during the first reading and the debate, when the report came to the parliament, the other side was saying that we refuse this bill in totality. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Kenya Kwanza was saying, we support this bill, we are not going to amend even
any other comma.
Even a comma.
Yes.
Now, looking at the same bill, it is insincere for a leader who would oppose this bill in totality. There might be some clauses which looked contagious, but now saying that we oppose this bill in totality, that's where now insincerity comes in. When a member of parliament knows,
yes,
that there is a clause which is going to exempt LPG gas. We are crying, the prices of gases have gone up. There is an aspect or a clause which is saying we are going to zero rate agricultural produce. But someone is saying we oppose it in totality. Now, there is a clause which actually looks impunitive. Let's say, okay, this VAT bill, before VAT, the whole debate has been around the 3% housing, which came to 1.5 after the amendments from the committee.
Yes.
The debate has been revolving around the housing thing. Actually, towards the last week or a few days to voting is when now we actually, they tried to come in, then we were told about VAT 16%. Actually, honestly, when this dialogue came about, everybody, that guy from Ushago there, everything he knew was about housing. There was actually, someone was asking, like, I went in the village, I met someone, when we were having a chat, he was asking, now, why are you discussing about housing when you are not discussing about us, the farmers? We are not discussing about the economy.
Yes.
I told him, it's okay, but now the debate has come up. And this debate, we have actually, the opposition did very well. Where the government went wrong, there was a lapse in communication. Actually, the communication, the government communication was to blame around this thing. When the bill came up, the first thing opposition told us, the government is reducing VAT to buy for those who wants to buy what? Choppers. They told us, sincerely, it's not choppers, it's just the parts. But they told us, those who want to buy the choppers. They told us, these guys want to tax you to buy to buy houses.
Yes.
Now, whatever suited the opposition when they were discussing this housing in public, they never even mentioned that those people initially they never mentioned that this bill is going to affect the public servants or those people who are salaried. They just said, even you, Mama Mboga, you are going to be taxed 3%. But now what the government did, it was quiet. They would have come out clearly telling us, this is the finance bill, this is what is inside, this is what is going to help you as a Kenyan.
Yes.
Now, back to the question, the voting of today.
That's it.
The right-hand side, that is the government side, they are going to vote yes, 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 yes. This is their bill. They promised people. They need money.
Yes. Do you think, Brian, that's where then it starts, that today the biggest challenge for the Kenya Kwanza side is to separate this from a Kenya Kwanza affair to a government affair, a national affair, because it's got to be inclusive. So you're sort of thinking that if they're going to vote on clause per clause, because we're not saying, well, that this is essentially a bad bill in entirety. No. And even some members of the ODM side are also saying, well, there's some good things there. We were cognizant of that fact. But now, here's what is playing out in Parliament. Party lines, Nabiswa.
Yes.
Because everybody's looking at you, not as a member of Parliament, but you're a member of a certain party. That's why the grumblings within ODM right now are, why did you miss? Why did you vote the other way around? If they had a chance to stop it, then they had a chance to stop it last week. But as it looked, they didn't have the numbers to stop it. Today at all, what is going to play out? Is it the party lines that are going to play out, or indeed now that we're going to see clause after clause, especially the 10, again, that the head of that finance committee is talking about there, that is Korea, is saying, well, these are the ones that have been fronted, and back in the National House, we're going to debate on them afresh today, and then subject a vote to these 10. Today, the ideal situation, Nabiswa, is it a party line situation, or it is these particular amendments that they want to introduce in these clauses? What is going to play out?
Now, whatever is going to play out will depend with the kind of amendment that the other side is going to give.
That's it.
I'll give an example. if the opposition is going to bring an amendment to relook at the 16% on VAT on petroleum products,
which they have, by the way, it's part of those ones that they want taken out. Yes,
they will come up with an amendment to look at the housing, the 1.5 housing ish the thing.
Yeah.
If they will come up with an amendment to look at the PAYE bracket,
yes,
the 30 and 35%. Now, that is where now we are going to see a line drawn. You know why I'm saying this? If at all the opposition is going to request an amendment on the 16% VAT on petroleum products, that's fuel. You know, right now, the major commodity whose VAT contributes largely to the revenue of the government are petroleum products. Petroleum products. And that's why the government, even if, okay, things are tough, prices of fuel are going up day by day.
And the higher they go, the higher price of local commodities also keeps on shooting up.
Yes, true. Now, the government have seen they are going to get a good chunk of revenue from 16%. So if there will be proposal to amend that one, it means that the proposal of 16% have to go down, and it has to go down. It will either go to 0 or remain at 8 or 0 rated. That is where I foresee now the Kenya Kwanza side, or the government side in the parliament, will say no. Will say no, totally no.
Yes, and which essentially will be then, somebody has already told them, we know it's bad, we know it's going to squeeze the economy, but then you got to go use your numbers to make it pass. Yeah. Which is why then, and this is exactly what I told you, Nabiswa, just before we started this conversation. Yes. If indeed we can't separate party lines in the National House from national dialogue, there's essentially a national dialogue, that indeed you presented this, we know that you might mean good and you're telling us that we do not have money, but we're telling the cost of living is essentially shot up. And the best way to adjust the cost of living is to essentially dial down on these taxes that you're pushing us. I'm not telling you everything. No, go right ahead. Tax the economy. But leave out the 16% VAT. Leave out the 1.5%, that is essentially 3% from the employer and the employee, because essentially you're pushing them to the wall. Now, what stops then the minority side from also telling their members, you see now, these guys, on these particular ones, they've introduced it because they know they have the numbers. So what we want you to do is reject the entire bill in totality, Brian Nabiswa, because they're not listening. They're going to pass it. It's very controversial. They put it here because they don't know they have the numbers. So once you settle on that particular seat, which we would like to think we gave you because we accepted into our party, then say no to that bill. And I'm saying this because Raila Amolo Odinga, as he was speaking throughout last week to this week, he's saying he's coming up with an alternative budget that he wants to push to the government and say, you see, you propose this, we also have this, we think you can settle with this. So go reject it in entirety.
The problems that we are facing as a country, the economic problems that we are facing as our country, starts from our member of parliament. All the 349.
Yeah, 349, yes.
Member of parliament, whatever you see there, it's a party. There is no independent mind there. Even the guy who was elected as an independent candidate, the moment he steps in the August House, he is affiliating with a party there. And after 2 weeks, within a short time, you will see him pronouncing that I'm now a member of this party. Now, why I'm saying the problems we have are, we are having in this country,
yes,
are as a result of our member of parliament. We carry the decisions of the party. We don't carry the decisions independently. When this bill came up, what was hard for our members of parliament from both sides to say, look, these are you are the government, these are your proposals. Why can't we go this route? To at least give an amnesty to that Kenyan citizen. When the bill came up, immediately the proposal there was a rumor of the proposal of the budget.
Yes.
Even before someone has even read it, there's a member of parliament. Before a member of parliament has read this bill, he has started saying this thing is bad because he is a member of an opposing party. Now, the fuel. Do you know, coming up with the price of fuel, there are some other costs inside.
No, sir.
There are some very more costs, including the highway,
Yes.